Hey there, welcome back to the Butterfly Club. Today I want to talk about the stress thought loop that happens so often in midlife and how one thought can totally change your hormones and the way that your body holds on to weight and stress. So, if you are in perimenopause or menopause, or if you don't even know but you just notice that things are different at this age, your stress feels stronger, your cravings feel louder, and your reactions feel quicker than they used to. There is a physiological reason. In midlife, your body becomes more sensitive to stress chemistry. And stress is very often uh, begins with a thought. So today I want to go through what actually happens inside your body when a stressful thought appears and why understanding this changes how you respond to more cravings, mood swings, and energy crashes. So let's begin with what shifts in midlife. First of all, progesterone starts to decline, and progesterone supports GABA activity in the brain. GABA helps the nervous system settle after stress. So when progesterone drops, our stress signals last longer than they normally would have when you were younger. Estrogen also begins to fluctuate pretty wildly up and down. And estrogen interacts with serotonin and dopamine pathways. So these influence our mood and our emotional steadiness. Now, at the same time, cortisol sensitivity also increases. And cortisol is your primary stress hormone. It mobilizes energy, it prepares you for action, but when cortisol rises too frequently or stays elevated for too long, it begins to influence your blood sugar, your sleep, your cravings, and fat storage patterns. So now let's connect this to a simple moment. For example, you think, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. Now, that simple thought feels small in the moment, but your brain does not evaluate it philosophically. Rather, the amygdala, which is part of your brain that scans for threat, perceives urgency and it activates the hypothalamus. Then the hypothalamus signals the HPA axis, and the adrenal glands release cortisol. Now, your cortisol raises, and that raises blood sugar. It shifts blood flow towards your muscles. It temporarily reduces digestion. All of that can begin literally within seconds of having that thought. Now, as a result, your blood sugar is elevated. Insulin rises to manage that glucose in your blood system. If a stressful thought continues or if more stress stacks on top of it, now blood sugar swings begin to be wild. And after a rise comes a drop. When blood sugar drops quickly, the brain looks for rapid fuel. That's where cravings show up. This is why you can go from stress all the way into the kitchen and not know why you're there and fully understanding why you're standing there in front of the freezer pulling out the gallon of ice cream. So now let's layer into that in perimenopause and menopause. You typically don't sleep as well either. So now with lighter sleep, which is very common, you are raising your cortisol the very next day because of that light sleep. And now this higher cortisol increases your blood sugar variability. Your blood sugar variability increases cravings even more, and the loop continues to build upon itself. This is the thought hormone loop. We have a thought that raises cortisol, then our blood sugar shifts, then we have an insulin response, then we have an energy crash, then we have a craving. Then we go into self judgment because we succumbed to that craving, and then we have another stressful thought. And on the loop goes. So, midlife amplifies this loop because the buffering hormones are changing. They're no longer as strong to buffer this as they used to be. Understanding this creates leverage. When you notice the thought, the prefrontal cortex activates, and the prefrontal cortex supports your perspective, regulation, and intentional action. So, even labeling the thought as, I'm having a thought that I'm being behind. That reduces the amygdala dominance. And the amygdala, remember, is the one that looks for threat. So if you just label that thought, you're downplaying the threat that the amygdala is going to notice. So that alone is going to shorten the cortisol spike. Then, on top of that, if you add physiology based regulation, such as a breathing technique that I like to teach, this will even help more. So you inhale for 3 seconds and then you exhale for 6 seconds. That longer exhale stimulates the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve allows your heart rate to slow. So it signals safety to the brain, and safety reduces cortisol output. Shorter cortisol spikes mean steadier blood sugar, and steadier blood sugar means fewer intense cravings. After breathing, choose one steady action. Maybe it's just having some water. Maybe it's going for a short walk. Maybe it's a protein forward snack or standing up and stretching. These small, steady actions after you've done the breathing to stop that loop change the trajectory of the loop. Over time, your identity will shift and you'll begin to see yourself as someone who pauses before reacting, someone who regulates first, someone who stabilizes her body. In midlife, stability is so powerful. It supports metabolism, it supports sleep, it supports digestion, and it reduces craving intensity. If your body feels more reactive lately, more confusing, more resistant to things than it used to be, there is biology underneath that experience. And when you understand the biology, you gain leverage. Inside the Butterfly Club, this is exactly the work that we do every week. We look at hormones, metabolism, nervous system regulation, identity, and behavior patterns. We make them usable in real life. We build steadiness, and steadiness compounds. Now, you're required, now, if you want support with this in real time, this is exactly what I teach inside the Butterfly Club. Each week, as a member, you'll receive a live educational workshop with me. I also always record it so that if you can't make it live on certain weeks, you can always watch the recordings. They're super valuable. Each week, I also give you a detailed downloadable PDF that goes with the presentation and a practical workbook and guided transformation audio to help your nervous system integrate what you've learned. I'd love to invite you to join one of our weekly calls as my guest. You can send me your email address or email me directly at trish@stokedbodies.com and I'll send you the link. I also encourage you to watch my free Feminine Freedom Experience workshop, where you'll get a clear roadmap for how I help midlife women feel at home in their bodies again through nervous system regulation, strength training, nutrition, hormone support, and sustainable identity-based change. You'll find that link in the description below as well. Thank you for joining me today, and until next time, take good care of yourself.